For as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to have kids. Of course, I wanted to get married and fall in love and all that other good stuff. But really, I wanted to be a mom. I wanted the baking cookies, doing crafts, running all over town to soccer games, and all the activities. I wanted it all. I had dreamed of having that perfect family and perfect Facebook-worthy life. I wanted the white picket fence, the minivan, the whole 9 yards. When I met my husband, I knew he was the one. People always say that. You know when you know, and we both knew it. I was working in a photo lab while I was in university, and he came in regularly. I started to notice he was coming in more and more, and that the pictures he was wanting developed or blown up were getting more and more mundane and were looking more and more like just fake excuses to come in and see me. One day I called him on it, asking him why he took so many pictures of the same things and kept paying to have them developed. He blushed and said, "I think you know why." That night we went to a movie and out for dinner afterwards. We couldn't stop talking or laughing. There wasn't a single awkward, silent moment. There were times of silence, but it felt comfortable. And neither of us felt the need to fill every single moment with pointless babble, like what happened on most first dates. We dated for 3 months before I took him home to meet my parents. They thought I had struck gold. Darren was super tall, very kind, the easiest person in the world to talk to, and he was a chef. That's how he really won me over. They say the way to a man's heart is through the stomach, but I beg to differ. I think that saying should be changed to, the way to anyone's heart is through their stomach. I definitely like to eat as much as any man. Darren had trained in Italy and specialized in Italian cooking. I was a little worried about my weight with all the pasta and fancy cooking, but I was willing to make that sacrifice. I did have to say to him from time to time, "Do you think you could try some low-fat meals?" He was a typical chef who cooked for taste, not for health. His soups were amazing, but you were basically drinking cream. He looked disgusted when I suggested he use milk instead of cream. The look on his face when I said that was beyond hilarious. You'd think I had asked him for a kidney or something. Anyway, I definitely put on a few pounds during that first year of dating, but we were happy, so happy, that it didn't seem to matter anymore. After 18 months of dating, he proposed, and he did it in the most amazing way. I had slept over at his house, and he told me he was going to make me a big breakfast in bed. I was shocked to wake up to him just watching TV and not smell bacon in the skillet. Instead, there was a sealed box of cereal on the table, sitting next to a jug of milk, a bowl, and a spoon. I said, "What's this?" Darren answered with, "I told you I'd have breakfast ready for you when you woke up. Help yourself." I was all, okay. I had pictured more of a cooked breakfast. I sat down at the table, a little dazed from tiredness and confusion. I opened the box of cereal, and as it was pouring out into my bowl, a little box fell out with the cereal. "What the?" Darren looked over and said, "Oh wow, cereal boxes started putting prizes in them again. How cool." I opened it up, and it was a huge diamond engagement ring. By the time I looked away from the ring and back to Darren, he was already on the floor, on one knee. I instantly started bawling. This was the moment, the big moment. I had wondered how he would do it, and this was perfect. It was just him and I, no audience, and that was exactly how I wanted it. I, of course, said yes, and then he produced an amazing breakfast platter of smoked salmon and bagels and cream cheese, fresh fruit, fresh squeezed orange juice. Now, this was more the breakfast I was picturing. So I was checking all the boxes. I had the guy, the husband, and was soon to get the picket fence. We decided to opt for saving for a down payment on a house rather than a big wedding, which we both felt was the far smarter and more practical decision. Both our parents were thrilled, and they told us whatever we saved for our house, they would match, since they didn't have to pay for a big, expensive wedding. We had decided to City Hall it and have a party after for friends and family. We got married and started looking for a house. We would have to add the picket fence, but we found the house right away. It was a beautiful farm-style, 2-story. It had 5 bedrooms in total and an open floor plan that I thought would be perfect for keeping my eye on little ones running around. Once we were moved in, we started trying for our first child. We got pregnant quickly, and 9 months later, little Stephanie was born. A year after that, Justin came along. We were busy and felt like we had gone from 0 to 6, going from 1 kid to 2. It was exhausting, but it was a good exhausting. I had checked all the boxes of what I wanted from life. I had the perfect family and the perfect life. Fast forward to the teenage years, and wow, those kids were handfuls. They were both amazing and smart, but it seemed like overnight they had become those typical, confused, angsty teenagers. Stephanie was always glued to her phone, and Justin wasn't much better. They both had the newest iPhones and had chosen white. I told them I thought that was a bad idea as they would get them confused, but of course, they ignored me. I was only their mom after all. One day when I was straightening up around the house, I saw someone had left their phone on the couch. I swiped the screen to see whose it was and saw an image of a guy in teeny tiny Speedos. Interesting, I thought. Assuming it was Stephanie's, I put it on the counter. When she came downstairs, I said, "You left your phone on the couch, it's on the counter." She said, "That's not mine, it's Justin's. Mine's right here." I paused. Wait a minute, Justin had a sexy guy as his screensaver? That doesn't make sense. I said to Stephanie, "Why would Justin have a muscle monkey in Speedos as his screensaver?" Stephanie looked like she was trying to decide how best to respond. Instead, she said, "You better talk to him about that." I decided I would do just that and marched up to his room with his phone in hand. He was still sleeping, but I turned the light on and gently roused him. He rolled over in bed groaning like the typical teenager he was. I gave him a minute to wake up and then held the phone with the photo out in front of me. "Anything you want to tell me about this?" I asked. What do you want to know?" I asked him why he didn't have a pic of some hot girl on his phone instead of a dude. He swallowed, took a deep breath, and said, "Because dudes are what I'm into, Mom." I could almost feel my perfect life swirling around me. What about grandkids? What about him having an easy life? What would Darren think about this? I knew it would be harder for him and wasn't looking forward to telling him. I asked Justin how long he had known for, and he said he kind of always knew. I gave him a hug, told him I loved him, and that he could tell me anything. He seemed really relieved to have told me and asked me to tell his dad for him, which I was planning to do anyway. That night when Darren got home from work, I made sure the kids were out and I had a nice dinner on the table for him. He knew something was up the minute he saw the table set, as he was always the one who cooked. I sat him down and told him to brace himself, and that I had some news that might be hard for him to hear. I just came out with it, no beating around the bush. His mouth hung open. He was quiet for a long time. He asked me how I found out, and I recounted the morning events for him. He said he didn't really know how to react, that of course he would support Justin, but it made him feel like he didn't know him as well as he thought, or maybe that Justin didn't feel close enough to tell him. I reminded him that I hadn't been told and had found out accidentally. That night when the kids came home, Darren talked to Justin about it and told him that he didn't care who he was into, as long as he was safe, happy, and healthy. A few days later, I was cleaning up again and saw a phone lying on the couch again. I swiped again, and this time, saw a pic of a sexy model in a bikini, a female model, of course. I put it on the counter before thinking, wait a minute, if that's not Justin's phone, which I now knew it wasn't, did this mean... Oh God, not again. "Stephanie, can you come downstairs, please?" I called up the stairs. She came bounding down the stairs as happy as could be. I asked her if she had anything she needed to tell me, and she knew right away what it was. "How did you know?" she asked. I showed her the phone pic, the same as I knew with Justin. She told me that she was planning on telling me, but wanted the news about Justin to fully sink in first. I told her I appreciated the concern, but that I would rather know the truth of things on the sooner side rather than later. Anyway, we had a long talk and things were good. I made dinner again that night and had it ready for when Darren got home. "Uh-oh," he said when he saw it. "Who's gay now?" He was laughing when he said it, totally joking. But I said, "Your daughter." His fork clanged onto his plate and he looked up to the roof. "Wow, seriously?" "Serious as a heart attack," I said. So within a week, I found out my son's gay and my daughter's a lesbian. I thought back to that perfect life I had always wanted and how on the outside, it looked exactly as I had pictured. I didn't love my kids any less, but I felt like I had to mourn the loss of that idea. I knew this day and age was different and so much more tolerable, but I still worried about things being harder for them. I wondered how the whole grandchildren thing would work, but told myself that that was a long way down the road and nothing to worry about now. Darren and I loved our kids, and we loved our life. It had turned out a little differently than we pictured, but it was authentic and ours. To watch more animated story videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And tell us in the comments section what you thought about this story.